point holding on to the ball in the time of possession battle, and you
Yeah,
guys getting the run game going.
and I think the big part of that is running the ball, which obviously we haven't done the first 2 weeks, and will be the point of emphasis now and going forward.
Mason, we asked you last year a lot about identity, and it took you a while to find that identity. You feel like you've kind of gotten away from that identity that was successful last year?
Yeah, for sure. And every year's a little different. I just don't think we found our identity yet. We're still searching for it, and obviously we hope it happens sooner than it did last year.
People might ask, you guys had such success in the second half of the season. Why would it change? Why can't you guys just pick up where you left off last year?
Yeah, I think you're always trying to evolve, right? You're always trying to do things better. It's not like we're out there trying to be worse than we were at the end of last year, right? We plan on it being better. Our focus was it being better. We know it can be better. It's at the point where now we're just not executing. It's not schematics. It's not play calls. It's none of that. It's just we're not blocking the guys. We're not making the throws. We're not making the reads. We're just not executing at a high level, especially early in the games.
Did you guys feel like you had mojo in the preseason, or was that more of like a preseason mirage?
It's always weird. Preseason's always strange because teams don't prepare the way you prepare for regular season games. So we didn't read into it much. Obviously, we enjoyed the success in the preseason, but it's tough to read into any of that.
Mason, you guys faced two elite pass rushers. Neither one of them wrecked the game. So you got it done from that standpoint. Is it surprising that the other stuff hasn't been there?
Yeah, I mean, certainly we've held these last two guys to a minimal impact on the game. That was obviously our game plan, but we got to get this run game going. It's going to help our defense. It's going to help Kenny. It's going to help everybody, and it's a big challenge for us. And we know how good we can be. We just got to do it now and execute.
How much can George help get the run game going just by opening up the field? I mean, he had double-digit targets.
Catching 70-yard balls for touchdowns. No, I mean, George has been fantastic and special talent, but if we sit back and drop back 50 times a game, he'll never be open because teams will just drop 7, 8 guys in the coverage, and it'll be a nightmare for him and Kenny and everybody else. So we got to get this run game going to really get our play action going and be able to take those shots that we want to take and have those explosive plays.
What's the mood as things don't work during games? Is there excess frustration? Is there lack of confidence? What are you sensing?
It's just in the heat of the game, you're always looking for answers, right? And sometimes it's too late to look for answers, right? Sometimes you're in the middle of the game and you want to know why it's not working, and it's really just we're not executing. But it can feel like there's a lack of confidence, but there's really not. We know how good we can be, how good we have been. We just have to do it. Like I said, we're not executing for whatever reason. So it'll be back to the drawing boards in our process and preparation, and look forward to an obviously better showing than we had last night.
4 weeks in a row against a running back that's had 50, whatever, a lot of yards in this league, and kind of, I don't want to say run first teams, but teams that can do that. Is it good to? How do you stop that? I guess.
It's tough because a lot of these teams that love to run the ball, they have really good weapons on the outside. So, from a football standpoint, when traditionally when teams trot their big guys on offense, you want to put your big guys on defense. But the way things work is, you look at the Raiders, they have Devontae Adams on the outside and Hunter Renfrow and the rookie Michael Mayer from Notre Dame. So they have weapons. So, when you trot big guys out there, they're going to throw the ball. So, traditionally in today's day and age of football, you have to play with lighter boxes, and your defensive linemen have to play blocks and get off of blocks and help out the run game that way.
With a big piece like Cam being out for a while, how much shuffling, so to speak, goes into all of that? How much more of that, like you talking about with the complementary, everybody's able to do a little bit of everything. How much more does that come into play when a guy like Cam goes down?
It's hard. You can't replace a generational All-Pro future first ballot Hall of Famer like that, But what you can do is help stop the bleeding. You can put guys, like I said, who have different niches, who have different abilities to help combo, the missing time of Cam Hayward. Cam Hayward's a great all-around player. He can play the run. He's an elite interior pass rusher. His instinctual knowledge of the game is phenomenal. And so you replace that with guys who are good in certain things and putting them in on certain situational times throughout the game, and then you hope that it gets the job done. And the job will get done.
Most of this first half for you guys is against teams that really just want to smack you in the mouth. 49ers, Browns, Ravens eventually.
Yeah.
Now you got the Raiders downhill running team. How do you go about meeting energy with energy and then going about stopping Jacobs and his
Yeah, so, the past 2 weeks we've faced teams that like to run east and west, sideline to sideline, wide zone, mid zone, tight zone, you name it. McDaniel's playing against him, when I was in LA the last 2 years, he likes to run a lot of lead. I got a lot of respect for that fullback, Jakob Johnson, they have. I think he's kind of the key to their running game. And so, they like to get a body on a body, hat on a hat. And I think it's really important interior-wise this week that we're physical at the point of attack. And then, everybody talks about eating up space, but this is kind of the week you have to eat up space inside. Because Josh Jacobs wants to run north and south. He doesn't really want to run east and west. That's not his strength. His strength is in between the tackles getting downhill. So, the more we can put bodies inside from that B gap to the other B gap of the offensive tackles, I think we'll have a good job this week.
Is there it's coincidental you're back this week?
No, I think it's just, me providing depth and being an asset to the other guys in the room. Whether it was me or whether it's somebody else, I'm just always grateful for the opportunity to be playing football.
Can you learn anything from what you guys saw from Juszczyk when they were in a lot of 21? It's different than what Shanahan does, but fullback versus fullback.
Yeah.
And what can you learn from that?
Well, I think you can't treat him like a traditional fullback. That's the issue when you play a team like San Francisco is how are you going to play 21? Are you going to play like 12 personnel? Are you going to play like 11 and treat George Kittle like a receiver and treat Kyle Juszczyk as a tight end? And so that, and then a lot of the moving pieces they have pre-snap kind of messes with your eyes in the back end, linebacker and secondary-wise. Those kind of teams you want to play with your cleats in the grass. Shanahan, he's one of those guys that kind of likes to have you set defensively before the play, and then he's going to run his route combination, his route trees, his run game, and all that. And so you kind of don't want to have a lot of moving parts. And so with a guy like Kyle Juszczyk, you obviously want to have, your players go to that side of the fight. You want to have your players line up on Kittle, on Trent Williams, where they like to run the lead toss and all that. But ultimately, you just got to play football at a certain point. When all this motion and these jet screens and these movement goes around, sometimes you just got to put your hand on somebody and play football.
Right, and after the cuts, what told you that, hey, this is the place I want to remain, that I can still make a difference with this team?
It's kind of one of the only places that cares about nose tackles. They care about physical football. It's the AFC North. And, just talking with Coach Tomlin and Omar and all those guys after cut day, I wanted to be here. This is a place that I want to grow in. This is a place that I want to be a part of long-term wise and ultimately just get my game better being around Coach Dunbar and Coach Austin and all those guys. I love it here. I love the culture here, and I love everything about this place.
Thank you, Brandon.
Yeah.